everyone, this is Jerry Smith, Editor-in-Chief of IconToFright.com. Every week we have a column which we call Fright at Home, where we kind of tell you about what new titles are hitting shelves or online stores that week. Typically what we do is give you the artwork, give you the synopsis, and a little rundown on each title, detailing whether or not it's something you should pick up. This week I thought I'd try something new, where we'd give you the artwork, the official synopsis, and a video at the bottom of the page, kind of detailing the films a little bit more. If you like this format, let us know. If you like the old one, let us know that too, because it's all about you in the end. First off, we have this film. It's called Soaked in Bleach. It is kind of a half documentary, half reenactment of the final few days of Kurt Cobain. It revolves around Tom Grant, the private investigator that Courtney Love hired to find Kurt Cobain, and his growing suspicion that she was involved in his murder. And I know that sounds a lot like the Kurt and Courtney documentary that came out years ago, but this one actually has interviews with Tom Grant himself, friends of Kurt's, the investigators on the case. It's actually pretty good. I went into this one very skeptical because, I mean, I'm not one for conspiracy theories. It kind of annoys me to watch those kind of films. But this one was very well done, and it raised some good points, and it actually had many audio recordings that Courtney Love sent to Tom Grant during the investigation. A lot of stuff that really contradicts everything that she said about Kurt Cobain's suicide. It's very, like I said, it's really good. It's entertaining. Daniel Roebuck, of all people, plays Tom Grant in the reenactments, so that's kind of fun to watch. If you're a Nirvana fan, you might want to check this one out. Next up is Jen and Sylvia Soska's Vendetta. Me personally, I like exploitation films. I love old films from the 60s and 70s, like prison films, biker films, what have you. Vendetta feels like a film that would play during that era. It's a very violent, very in-your-face. It's really abrasive. And what's really cool is that the Soskas they've turned Dean Cain into a badass. Who would ever think that? Me personally, when I think of Dean Cain, I think of Superman, I think of him in tights, or I think of him as creepy Scott Peterson in the made-for-TV film. But Vendetta, he is a beast. He basically plays a detective who's after these two criminal brothers. One of them played by Paul White, or The Big Show in WWE. When something happens and they get freed on a technicality, The Big Show goes to Dean Cain's house while he's gone and brutally murders his wife. So Dean Cain kills his brother, gets sent into the same prison that The Big Show is in, and like the cover says, it's hell in a cell. There's a lot of fights. The fights are very well done. They're so entertaining to watch. I cannot recommend this film enough. What's great about it is that Jen and Sylvia really, they really change from film to film, and I think that's a very good sign of really good filmmakers. If you can make every single one of your films feel completely different than the other, then that's definitely a success in my book. I would highly recommend checking this one out. The next one is from Scream Factory. It is Nomads. It's directed by John McTiernan, who would pretty soon after this go on to direct Die Hard, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, the third one, among other films. This is one hell of a just mind trip of a movie. It's so weird and out there that I can't see anyone watching it saying like, oh, that's okay. It seems like a film that people either detest or love. Me personally, I love it. I've loved it since I was a kid. I grew up watching this film. It is weird as it gets. And it's basically about a nurse. A nurse played by Leslie Ann Down, who is working a shift. She's very tired, and this crazy screaming lunatic comes in, which is Pierce Brosnan with a beard, who's French in this film, and he whispers a bunch of things into her ear, and then he dies. And then almost immediately after, she starts reliving this character, the Pierce Brosnan character's last few days or months or whatever, through his eyes, and finding out about these group of punk rock looking nomads who, it doesn't really go into great detail about what the Nomads are. We just know that they're not human, or they are human, or they live forever, or they die. It's kind of left in the air. It's a very weird movie. The weirdest part isn't the plot. The weirdest part isn't the look of the Nomads, but the weirdest part is Pierce Brosnan's accent. Pierce Brosnan, his French accent is on par with Dick Van Dyke's British accent in Mary Poppins. It's so bad. It's so just horribly bad. But the film itself is great. It has excellent special features. It has brand new interviews with Leslie Ann Down and the composer Bill Conti, which, if you're a fan of film scores, then obviously you know Bill Conti's work. He's great. Absolutely wonderful. Great special feature. If you could get past the weird accent and just enjoy the film, Nomads. It's definitely one to pick up. Next up is another Scream Factory title, but this one's part of Scream Factory's partnership with IFC Midnight. This is the film Ejecta. It's kind of a sci-fi / alien abduction film with kind of a half found footage, half not found footage kind of angle. It's really good. I really enjoyed this one. It has Julian Richings, who's never bad in anything that I've ever... He's never been bad. He's just an excellent actor, someone that I really enjoy watching in a film, and he just has this interesting look, and his style of acting is fun. And he basically plays this guy who's always said that he was abducted by aliens, and so this young guy brings a camera and goes up and studies him, and all hell breaks loose. Julian Richings is held hostage, not held hostage, but kind of captured by this government agency and tortured to give out information. It's a very, very fun movie. It's intense, and like I said, the performances are great. It's definitely a good one. It's kind of light on the special features, but the film itself is one that you'd probably enjoy. Next up is a film that's not a horror movie by any means necessary. I mean, it's not. There's nothing genre about this film whatsoever, but I live by the motto of anything with Jeffrey Dean Morgan is good in my book. So this one is The Secret Life of Marilyn Monroe. It's a 3-hour kind of biopic, kind of about the relationship between her and her mother, and how a lot of that weird relationship between her and her mother affected every single thing in her life. Her marriages, her fame, kind of pushed her into a lot of drug abuse, and basically that's the film. Susan Sarandon plays her mom, Kelly Gardner plays Marilyn Monroe, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays Joe DiMaggio, which is a great role. It's a good movie. If those kind of biopics aren't your thing, this might be one that you might want to pass up, but I liked it. It was cool. The next film is a Belgian film released by Artsploitation Films called Cub. This is a movie that I just absolutely loved. You know, in the Scream era, that's when every horror fan started like subscribing to the idea of like horror films having rules. And I never subscribed to that belief. I think horror shouldn't be safe. It shouldn't have rules. It should hit you in the gut, and while you're on the ground, kick you twice as hard. And that's what Cub does. It's a film about these Boy Scouts that go into the woods, and their scout leaders tell them these legends of, like, you know, feral monsters and serial killers and stuff. And it kind of is true. There's a serial killer in the woods who has a kidnapped kid who wears a mask that helps him kill. And the Cub Scouts are attacked, and there's one kid in the Cub Scout group who's kind of the outcast. He's picked on, they call him Freak and everything else. And he's kind of enthralled by this feral kid wearing a mask. It's a film that, like I said, it doesn't play by the rules. Things happen in the film you would never guess would happen. If this film was made in America, it would not be this kind of film, trust me. It is abrasive, it's in your face, it is a fucking roller coaster of a ride. I would highly recommend it, Cub. The next one on our list is Collection 13 of MYTHBUSTERS. Like I said, you know, some of these titles aren't genre per se, but they're stuff that I either like or, you know, I'd give a shot. I'll watch any kind of movie at least once. MYTHBUSTERS is a fun show that I've always enjoyed. I like stuff getting blown up. I like things being proven wrong. And this collection's really good. They kind of test out that Titanic survival, whether or not Jack could have been on that, you know, piece of luggage or whatever it was that Rose and Titanic floated away on. And they prove that wrong, and they prove a lot of things wrong. It's pretty good. Check this one out. Next on our list is another film with Julian Richings. This one's put out by Kino Lorber. It is called Patchtown. This movie is fucking weird. It's basically, it's in this, it's kind of like alternate world where newborn babies are plucked from Cabbage Patches. So it's kind of Cabbage Patch Kids the movie, but dark. It's very stylish. It's a very visual film. The performances are great. It's a little out there. It's very weird. So if artsy movies aren't your thing, then you might want to pass this one up. But, you know, I really enjoyed it. It was cool. Next up on our list, or lastly, is Skin Trade, put out by Magnet. Skin Trade is an action film starring basically every badass martial artist you could think of almost. You have Dolph Lundgren playing this detective who is trying to stop this Serbian drug lord, or Serbian gangster, played by Ron Perlman. And he gets help from Peter Weller, who is RoboCop himself, Michael J. White, who played Spawn in Black Dynamite, and Tony Jaa from The Protector in the Ong Bak series. It's a film that's chock full of fighting sequences. It's a lot of fun. If you're into martial arts films or action extravaganza kind of films, it's definitely one to check out. So anyways, that's it for this week's Fright at Home. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see this format continue, let us know. Sound off in the comments. Or if you like the way that it usually is, feel free to say that. Feel free to say, I don't want to look at Jerry talk about movies. I'd rather write, or rather read what he has to write. So anyways, have a great day, everyone.